Good evening, everyone. My name's Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading's Miami office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Monday, August the 19th, 2013, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary video brought to you by WallStreetTrading.com. Quick reminder, if you have not been to the website yet, go check it out. A lot of informative information on the site. At the same time, if you're interested in taking our active trading course, or if you're interested in trading with our prop firm or finding out details how you can trade with our prop firm, please contact me at ccooper@wallstreettrading.com. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the video here. A lot of good analysis out there to take a look at. Starting off with the markets here, the Dow Jones closed down 71 points, the Nasdaq closed down a little over 13.5 points, and the S&P 500 closed down close to 10 points here. If we take a look at the breadth on the market, we had 4,747 issues declining on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the Amex. We had 1,517 issues advancing on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the Amex. Therefore, breadth was in favor of the bears, close to a 4-1 there. All right, couple of the key sectors that were weak today, or that were strong. We had some strength in the healthcare sector. Johnson & Johnson, J&J, they're up close to 1.25%. We had some action in GILD up close to 1%. We had some action in ISRG up 1.75%. So the healthcare sector was pretty strong. Apple was up over 1% today with Google, Intel. The basic materials sector was weak. And financials are weak and pretty much mixed across the board in some of the other sectors. But overall, the basic materials sector was very weak. Financials were very weak today, so we have to make sure we take a look at those key sectors. So let's go ahead and break down the chart, starting off with the SPY, the S&P 500 ETF here, down $1.06, down 0.64%, closing at 164.77. You can see we are closing below this key 165.60 level. The next major support level, I would say, is not really down here to 162. You can see it was acting as prior resistance till it finally broke through. So that level should act as support. And it also looks like we want to come down here and touch this rising 100-day moving average around 163.04. Sellers have been in control since Wednesday, since a gap down, and they remain in control. The dip buys are not working. And if we do get a dip buy, we usually hold for a little bit, then we make new lows. That's been the norm ever since we broke below this key 168 level on the SPY. And we do have some minor levels of support down here. For example, we have some little minor gap fill action you can see down here around 164. So definitely keep a close eye on 164 if we break tomorrow and hold below today's lows. We break below 164, you want to watch 163. We break below 163, then you want to watch this key level right here at 162. We definitely have some good reference levels to work off of. We just have to make sure we wait until those real dip buyers come back in. Right now, you can see the sellers are in control, and these dip buyers are not stepping in the way right now. All right. If you take a look at the 60-minute time frame on the ES, we really broke down out of a head and shoulders pattern. It's more of a complex head and shoulders pattern where you really can't see it that clear. If I take out some lines here and take out some key moving averages, let me just take off the studies here, and you can see the kind of head and shoulders pattern that took place. Oops, sorry about that. You have your little left shoulder right here. You have your little head right here from the trap. You have a little kind of double right shoulder action. This is really when the selling came in right here around 1677 or so. So I would say if we take the measured move from 1677.5 all the way to a high of there is 1705, we're talking about 32 points or so. All right, so 32 minus the 1678 takes us down to like 1642. This morning, I gave the guys in the room that target of 1640. You can see we hit a low of 1642 just based off this measured move that's been taking place from the head and shoulders breakdown. So we're pretty much close to target. If anything, we have a little bit more room to go. But then once we get to that 1640 target on the ES, we want to see what levels are going to come into play, because then we're going to be at the measured move target, but then we want to see if there are any levels that are right there below that may act as a magnet and would act as a better level to buy off support. So 1640, I would say most likely scenario, if we were to continue to sell, would be for us to come down and recheck this 100-day moving average right here at 1630. I mean, if we start breaking below that, a key level you would want to watch would be right here around 1620 from this prior level right here. You can see was a key inflection level. And then we have 1610 underneath that. But right now, you can see the sellers are in control. Ever since we broke down out of this little sloppy head and shoulders pattern right here, you can kind of see it clear, of course, on the 60-minute chart. So, that measured move is coming to play here, and we're going to be looking at some lower levels to watch. But 1610 would also be a decent level to watch on the ES from this prior support right here. Broke down, so now it's resistance, and then we broke back above it. So 1610 is definitely going to be a reference level that I'm going to be watching very closely if we continue to sell off on the S&P. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the triple Qs. The NASDAQ 100 ETF down 13.5 cents today, down 0.18%. Looking like it's ready to make a move down tomorrow. 75 was a key level, so keep 75 as your reference level. Remember that came from this little consolidation that we had right here. If we break and hold below 75, look for us to make a move towards the bottom of this range down here, which comes in around 74. And then we also have some gap fill action around here as well that needs to be filled. That could be filled if we continue to sell, and that would be a target down towards, which also marks a good reference level right here as well, around 73.5. So keep it on that 73.5 level if the Nasdaq continues to sell off here. All right, if we take a look at the IWM, which showed some relative weakness this morning to the other indices, you can see this one was down 1%. We talked about the IWM last week, forming this nice little upward channel that we took from these reference points, 1, 2, 3, and then we took that parallel channel line and we drew it from this reference points down here, 1, 2, giving us this nice little pattern, this nice little channel to work off of. And you can see now the IWM's coming back into some prior resistance right here, which should act as support on this side. So maybe one more down day tomorrow on the Russell 2000, and then see if it gets like a little extended move on the 60-minute chart from the moving averages into this little support level, and we could possibly be looking to buy a dip off an extended low tomorrow on the Russell 2000. We'll see. All right, sellers are still in control ever since we broke below this key 103 level that we referenced in the prior videos. This even looks like it has kind of like a little head and shoulders pattern right there as well that was in play that caused this breakdown. All right, so let's go and take a look at some other things here. Let's take a look at the currency action. The dollar has been weak, has been trying to chop around lately, but I'm still a believer that the dollar is going to continue to make its way lower once we break this little lower pivot right here. I still think it has a target to the bottom of that of this little broadening wedge pattern right here, a broadening megaphone pattern, whatever name you want to call it. This is my target for it down here towards 79.50. Looking for it to break this lower pivot. You can see until it's able to break and hold back above this 81.75 area or so, this thing's probably going to still trade sideways to lower. All right, and a little downward channel action that's coming into play on this chart here. So keep that on watch. The euro, I think, is gearing up for another move higher. So if you trade the currency, remember we just watched the currency to see how it relates to the different asset classes and see how the market trades with it. The euro is actually looking pretty strong. As long as it continues to hold above this 132 level, we're going to be looking for this euro to make a breakout over this 134 level, guys. So keep an eye on the euro, my friends. Now let's go and take a look at that volatility index. So the VIX has been getting some action. It's not above that. It's not above, of course, this key level that we're watching at 16. Okay, but once it gets back above 16, I expect it to have like an air pocket move back up towards these highs. But the VIX is actually looking pretty interesting, so we have to keep an eye on it. Again, if it holds above this 1353 area or so, I would continue to keep this on watch. It's probably going to start continue to make a move back up towards the highs. A good way to play that, if you're looking to pick up some volatility, kind of hedge your position to just pick up volatility to get long the vol, then you want to be watching this VXX, which is has been getting beaten down since since 2009. But yeah, you want to watch this VXX for sure. This thing can make a fast move up if there's something out there creeping out there that we do not know about regarding news. Maybe something going to happen crazy out of Egypt. We already know that there's been a lot of deaths over there. So the VIX is rising up a little bit because of fear. We do not know what's going to happen. There's some uncertainty out there. All right, you can see that the VXX is starting to hold above this little. Let's see here, 2, 4, 6, 8. 10-day range that we had right here. As long as this ETF continues to hold above 15, look for this to continue to make its way higher. So keep an eye on the VXX. I know another one out there that people usually watch the volatility index is the TVIX, but this thing has definitely made a lot of people go out of business. So I would trade the VXX, something that's a little bit more expensive. That looks like it has a little more control on the price action or something. But anyways, keep an eye on the volatility index. We'll take a look at some stocks here shortly. Let me just go over the commodities real quick, starting off with gold. Actually, let's take a look at the bonds. Sorry, I want to make sure I don't forget to take a look at the bonds going forward into these after the bell market summary videos. But anyways, here real quick, the bonds TLT, they continue to get smacked down. Remember, we showed the head and shoulders pattern that was forming back here in May. That decline is still taking place. What's the best way to play the TLT? To the inverse side or to the downside if it's going down, the best way to play is the TMV. Look at the TMV making a nice fast move. Again, we talked about the TMV back here when it was at 61.80 when we called the sell off in the bonds. And now look at this sucker go, and has a lot of room to move up as these interest rates start to creep up, guys. It's going to get real crazy out there, and I think that's what's kind of causing the pressure on the markets is that these rates are going up as these bonds are declining, and probably catching a lot of portfolio managers and the people that are in these funds off guard, and it's not good. All right, let's take a look at the commodities now, starting off with gold. All right, gold futures, they were down a little bit today. Commodities were weak a little bit going into the session, except for natural gas, which I'm not sure how that closed out. But either way, gold, as long as gold can hold above this 1350 level, we're still a believer now that it's going to get towards this, back up towards 1425. If you guys recall, we've been tracking the gold ever since it broke out of this little inverted cup and handle pattern and stated the fact that we really can't get bullish to neutral on gold until it got back above 1350. So now it's back above 1350. We want to see some sideways consolidation above that key level and then look for some buy setups, some continuation buy setups to take us back to the top side. As long as we hold above 1350, we go back below 1350, we're going to be looking back for that 1300, that 1275 level. All right, if we take a look at crude oil, all right, and I should have looked at the gold miners right after gold. Sorry about that. I'll take a look at that here shortly. Crude oil, again, this has been holding a nice bid because of the action going on over there in Egypt. Nice up move, sideways consolidation, usually indicative of a move higher. And I think this thing's just gearing up for a move up, guys. I mean, if you guys recall the analysis that I've been showing you guys from the start of the year, when we had this nice little pattern on the chart, and I stated, look, guys, I'm looking for crude oil to make a big move by the third quarter. And here we are in the third quarter of the year, and we got that big move in crude oil. And this thing definitely looks like it wants to go higher, guys. I would expect higher crude prices if everything stays in place like it is now. You can also see that the triangle that we have on the weekly chart, on the monthly chart, is right here on the weekly chart. And you can see we broke out over that 98 level, and we're consolidating and kind of like a little nice little flag here off that up move. So keep an eye on crude oil. The energy stocks got smashed pretty hard today, but I would say if you're looking to play the energy sector, just buy the USO or buy some calls or play it direct. All right. What else here? Back to the gold real quick to touch up on the gold miners. GDX, they had been on a nice little run and may need to get some consolidation up here. I would want to see them get some consolidation up here before they move higher. You can see 31 is a key resistance level, and support would act around here around 2841. Prior resistance is going to act as support on this side. So if we break below 2841, I would look for 27. And we also have this little gap fill action down here. But gold miners, they did pretty well. They need to cool off a little bit, and we'll be looking to see if we can buy those names on the dips. Silver, I'll take a look at the SLV real quick here. SLV had a nice fast move up. Needs to pull back a little bit. Finally had some nice volume, some life come into it. Needs to consolidate a bit up here after making this nice expansion move up real quick. Needs to get some back and fill action to give us some support levels to work off of here from this fast advance move up in price. Let's go and take a look at copper futures. I like to take a look at copper to kind of get a gauge of growth. Of course, I mean, if copper is looking strong or pretty strong, that's pretty bullish for the general markets and growth commodities and growth stocks in general. And copper right now is at resistance right up here in this little range. It's been trading in between 340 or so and call it 305. Nice little range right here. So it's the top of the range. Obviously, if people do not expect it to break out, they're going to try to get short with a stop above this level right here, looking for a move back down. Maybe to kind of recheck this 321 level from the breakout. What else? Let's go ahead and talk about some stocks, guys. Starting off with Apple. Apple has been showing some nice strength ever since Carl Icahn, I believe it was, that came out and said he was adding some of those shares to his fund. And this thing has been performing pretty well. Obviously, you don't want to be buying Apple up here. We had a little close off of the highs. It closed in the lower 50% end of its range with this nice little topping tail. May pull back a bit and get some back and fill. We don't know. It does have some nice momentum in the name, though, so you definitely want to keep it on watch if you trade Apple. It's definitely helping the technology sector and the Nasdaq stay up a little bit there. Okay. What else? Some good performance stocks today as well. We had Intel did pretty well today. I didn't see any of that strength carry over into any of the other uh, semiconductor stocks, but Intel got upgraded today by Piper Jeffrey after having this nice little breakout over 22 and having a nice move up, and then selling all the way off from 20, selling all the way down from 26 to 22. It provided a good opportunity with the upgrade right on top of support. They upgraded it, gave the stock a nice bounce, and gave you a nice little cash flow trade that you could have participated in today. And you can see right here we have this nice little trend line, got rejected right there, but over today's highs, in the coming days or coming weeks, this thing could start making a nice move back up. It is still in the uptrend on the weekly chart and the longer time frames from those 2009, 2011, 2012 lows. All right, what else here? Some other stocks that stood out today. Google up 1%. All right, you can see Google was up over $8.50 today, and got a nice little bounce right here, trying to hold this little support that we have in the stock around this I would say 850 levels is here. Sorry about that. Around this 857 area. All right, resistance on Google is going to be right here around 880 from the prior breakdown, prior support. Right now becomes resistance here. What else? The financials were very weak today. Starting off with JP Morgan down 2.75%. They've been in the news lately. I'm not quite sure why. I'm not sure if it's still about the London Wealth thing, but I know I heard them today talking about the news. I was not that much active today because I've been doing training, and I have training. I'm training one more student again for tomorrow, and I'll be back pretty active doing a lot of trading back on Wednesday, and you can see all those trades on our Facebook. When we do catch a nice trade, we do make sure that we post it on Facebook to show you guys how we entered the trade, how we exited the trade, and we do post a lot of information on Facebook. So if you don't have Facebook, follow us there on the company page, Wall Street Trading, or you can follow us on Google Plus as well if you're not on the Facebook social media site. All right, JP Morgan is going to have some support here around 51 from this little move that we had up here from this little range. So keep an eye on 51. Also lines up with this little opening price action right here. I would definitely keep an eye on 51. That looks like a nice target to me. Nice little wide range bar showing us that there's still some more sellers in the stock. Look for the stock to move lower in the coming days and then look to see if it could bounce. Goldman Sachs was down 1.26% today. It's sitting right on top of this key level from this little pivot high that it made right here on this 158 area. We break below 158. Look for the stock to start making its way back in towards this little area down here from this little range. Right, the stock was pretty sloppy back here, so we'll see. It's going to be a choppy way down, I'm assuming, since all this price action was pretty choppy on the way back up. Let's see, Citigroup was down over 2% today, a little over 2%, 2.03%. This one is sitting right on top of the 100-day moving average. We break below 49. Look for this thing to possibly start making its way back down. I would say towards, see, I would say back down towards 48 or so in this little area right here. 48, 47. We have 45 if it really gets ugly. The financials stood out like a sore thumb today, so definitely keep them on the radar for tomorrow. Morgan Stanley was down a lot today too, down 2.5%. All right, I don't know what's up with these banks. These interest rates are rising. That's probably what's up with them. Let's see here. Uh, Again, a wide range bar on Morgan Stanley. Looks like it wants to have some more selling pressure. The target I would say is going to be down here towards 25.50. And more or less, I mean, again, this action got choppy over here, but I think the stock wants to come down and touch this 100-day moving average right here around 2503, 2471, the exponential and the simple. Either way, the stock looks weak. Look for the banks to maybe have some more follow through tomorrow if we continue to sell off. All right, and we did see some nice strength in the healthcare sector. J&J up 1.21% today. All right, pretty much got a nice little bounce off the back test of support since it got a bounce on Friday. Little follow through day today. Keep an eye on this name. May have some more follow through. We saw GILD up close to 1%. ISRG. Let me just bring this name up here because this one was pretty strong today in the healthcare sector. Up close to up 1.75%. Name has been pretty weak. It's trading sideways. Of course, I don't trade the stock, but I do just want to take a look at it, see what it's doing. and it's just trading between 400 and this little 375 area. I don't know, some of you big guys out there that play these expensive stocks, keep an eye on ISRG. Right over today's highs could get a nice little move back up towards 400. Did show some relative strength today. Maybe you could buy some call options in that name or something. Nike showed some strength today. BA was up 1.21%, but overall, the yeah, there you go, Nike right there has some nice, could have some nice fall through tomorrow. Keep this one on your radar. But we did see some weakness in the basic material sector. I mean, COP down over 2.25%. APA got downgraded this morning. They sold off as well. Look at this ugly candle in COP. What's going on with these energy stocks? Something happened that I haven't read up on yet. COP down, ExxonMobil down over 1%. Again, APA got downgraded today. This thing was down. This stock was down more than 4.5% today, and looks pretty ugly. Could have some more fall to tomorrow. Looks like it got a big breakdown, or some sellers really started coming into this name once it broke that $80 level there. You can see these little lower highs being put in, kind of like a little descending triangle there. Either way, guys, hope you guys had a great weekend. Um, it's been a pretty busy week ever since we had our little training classes from last week, Wednesday. We've been having some students come in and do the lab days. Again, if you're interested in taking our education course, please contact me at ccooper at wallstreettrading.com, or if you're interested in joining our prop firm. If you're in the Miami area, we are having a open house at our Coral Gables office down here in sunny South Florida, so make sure you come check us out. Have a great day, folks. Cheers.